Welcome to Acoustic Guitar, Episode 17, Folk Fingerpicking Patterns, Volume 1. As we study throughout the Acoustic Guitar Program, it's important to become competent at pattern playing, since the patterns are a big part of most of the acoustic guitar accompaniment work. And when it comes to the style folk guitar, this concept is really important because folk guitar pattern picking is the primary method for tracing out chords when accompanying vocals. Now, there's a lot to cover in this topic, so this lesson plan is going to be divided into two volumes. There'll be two volumes in this series. Here in Volume 1, we'll cover simple two-note chord and arpeggiated patterns along with straight and triple meter grooves. And then in Volume 2, we'll add more complex picking patterns including alternate bass note technique. So let's not waste any more time. We'll zoom in on the neck and get things started. Well, in taking a look at example number 1, what we're doing here is we're taking open position chords and we're using a lot of the two-note patterns. They're often called dyads. Sometimes people call them double stops, whatever term you decide to use for them. It's the idea of just taking two notes and using it as a punchy two-chord idea. They have a nice sound to them. It really kind of has a rich punchiness to using two notes. And of course, hundreds of folk style pieces are going to be using this type of chord outline with the two-note concepts. And we'll find them, in just all types of ways, used across the guitar string sets. But what we're going to focus on in this progression is a series of chords in D major, coming our way from the D major open position chord to an A. And then after the A, we're going to bring in a B minor as a minor 7. And then we're going to head to a G from there. All right, so we're taking those chord changes, and then what we're doing is we're setting up this idea where we're setting a pattern into play where we're taking the root of the chord. In the case of the first measure, we have D, of course, there. So we have the first D as open fourth string. And then we're going into that A and D on the third and second strings there, second and third fret. Doubling back to the open fourth string again. And then we're also getting the top two strings. There's an F sharp and a D up top there on the first two strings. We're letting that resonate a little bit, and then we're coming off of a D back into an A there, so we're getting a second string and a third string note coming after that. And that's the pattern. The fingering of the plucking hand is going thumb and then index and middle, with the thumb again into the bass tone, and then the middle and ring taking those upper two notes. And then finally, to wrap things up there, we're getting middle finger and index finger to wrap it all to the last A tone there in that measure. Now, everything's pretty much staying the same as a picking pattern. We're just going to go in the second measure to a new chord. We're going to be outlining the A major chord here. Similar setup, similar pattern picking. Bass into the interior strings, bass to the upper string sets, and then in the interior again, we're doubling back on single note tones. Same kind of deal with the same string sets once more in the third measure on that B minor 7 chord. And you'll notice the plucking hand fingerings are always remaining the same. Thumb, index and middle, thumb, index and ring, and then wrapping things up with the turnaround on a middle finger to index finger. All right, so that's the B minor 7. Then we go over to the G major chord to wrap things up. I'm doing a little bit different voicing for the G major. I'm including the D tone on the third fret of the second string. So I'm getting a D up there for that. And I wanted it there because I have a little guitar lick turnaround that I'm using where I slide from a D to a E real quick there. And then come back around again to hit that D to wrap things up. Alright, so that's the whole progression. I'll play it one more time for you. It's very straightforward. We're just using a lot of those two-note chord ideas, the dyad ideas, to outline what's happening with our different chord changes here through the key of D major. So that takes care of example number 1. We're going to take a short break right now, come back in a moment with example number 2, where I'm going to have some nice arpeggiated patterns. It's going to be more strictly moving along through chord tones, and we're going to follow it up with a nice turnaround lick off of every measure. It's going to be in the key of A major, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. But we're going to take a short break, come back with that in just a moment. Hey everyone, Andrew Wasson. Just wanted to make a quick announcement about CreativeGuitarStudio.com. You know, if you haven't grabbed a free membership yet, just head to the website, click on Create Account, fill this form out, and you got a free lifetime account to the website. Once that's in place, you can just jump into the members area here where we got all the lesson plans. And my quick announcement I wanted to make is I'm really excited because we've got the latest installment in the Advanced Guitar Program posted to the site. Now, in the Advanced Guitar Program is packed full of information. Each of these project lessons is around 2.5 hours of instruction. There's probably around 160 to 180 hours of instruction just in these lesson plans alone. The latest installment covers minor pentatonic, and there's 24 videos. This lesson plan is 2 hours and 45 minutes long when you run through all the lessons. If you've got a full premium membership, you can download the course files and an MP3 jam track. It's really quite the program. So if you're looking for a really serious guitar course online, right from beginner, you know, I've got the introductory program here, or intermediate, if you feel like you're more of an intermediate player and you want to work through, you know, lesson plans that are really geared to understanding the guitar fingerboard much better. You know, so if that's kind of your level, I've got those set up. But, you know, a lot of people really enjoy the advanced material. It's all the major scales, major 7 arpeggios and chords and minors and pentatonics and lots of improvisation exercises throughout here. So if you really want to jump into some great step-by-step material that is really organized, and in no way is it some kind of random guitar course. Like, I know I've heard so many complaints over the years about all the random lessons, and then probably for a lot of you, you're sick of the random lessons on YouTube that don't follow any kind of order and sequence. Well, you know, grab your free membership, start with that. But, you know, when you're ready to advance to sort of the next level there, you can grab one of my membership plans. Basic monthly membership's $19.95 a month, and then if you want to upgrade to the premium package, you do save $60. It's a one-time payment of $179.40, but that does give you full access to everything on the site. If you want a great step-by-step, well-organized guitar course, just head over to CreativeGuitarStudio.com and set up your membership today. Well, in example number 2, what I'm doing here is I'm arpeggiating through some chord plucking ideas. That's a huge part of playing in this style, and I've composed an arpeggiated idea here for example number 2 that works through the key of A major. The pattern's a root note anchored idea where it uses a bass string that's usually an open string for each of these chord passages. So what's happening is on the A chord, the first chord of the progression, we're using A open 5th string, and then the next chord of the progression is a E. Again, open 6th string E for that one. And then when we go to the next chord, it's a D chord. Open 4th string for that one. And then we're back to an E to turn things around. And again, 6th string open for that. So open A, open E, open D, back to the open A, E, and take us back to A again. So around that, what we're doing is some unique voicings. We're in the middle of the neck to start things off here on the 5th fret position. And we're taking a small triad of A major built off of the 7th, 6th, and 5th frets there. And we're just going up and down that in the lower register of it at first, going from the A open to the octave of A at 4th string, 7th fret, and then the C sharp on the 6th fret, 3rd string. Pedaling on those notes, and then we're bringing up a E and an F sharp and an E back to that C sharp again. So you can tell what I'm doing there to start off with is I've got the grip on that A triad, and then I'm walking through that melody idea from that high note on top. So that's a really integral stopping point for my plucking, because I'm getting that tone and then I'm moving through the F sharp from that E, coming back around again to that C sharp. So altogether it goes like this. All right, so that's the outline for that chord. Now we're gonna do something very similar when we get to the E. We're gonna drop down though to another triad for that E based upon the 6th fret, 4th, and 5th fret of the 4th string, 3rd, and 2nd string. We're walking across all those tones, arpeggiating. And then we're getting on the top 2nd string there, I'm getting the E and F sharp once again. Then I'm coming back to the 4th fret, 3rd string, the B, and then to this note right here, it's a G sharp. So we're getting that note as our last note. It's almost like we're going up and down that pattern. You know, so we're really arpeggiating that E chord that we have in the 4th position. And then from there, we're going to go to a standard open D major chord. We're going to pedal again, much like we did on the first measure, just going from the root, the D open string, to the A, and then another D on 3rd fret, 2nd string, back to the A again. Then we're going to have this high note of F sharp, and then opening up, first guitar string E, back to the D on the 3rd frets of the 2nd string, and then we have an A to wrap things up there on top. You can let that E ring out on top. It's a really nice sound. It gives you that suspended 2nd sound. Really nice sound on the top end of that D chord. Then we're going to move to an open position E major. We're just outlining there. We're arpeggiating it by way of going from the low 6th string E up an octave to the E at 2nd fret, 4th string. Then we're bringing in a 1st fret on 3rd guitar string G sharp there, and then we're going to double pluck on the B and E on the top 2 strings there with ring and middle fingers. Then to wrap everything up, I've got this slide that goes from a B up to a C sharp, and that's going to take place there on the 3rd guitar string, 4th fret to 6th fret. So across the E chord, and then the slide to turn things around. That puts me back into the position again of starting on that A chord where we had from the top there. And then insofar as plucking hand fingers, my recommendation is to start with thumb on the bass tones there. Use index and middle when you're pedaling. And then on the top end, it's kind of up to you how you want to set it up. I had some suggestions there, changing them along, for a couple of the measures on the handout. But I started off by saying, well, you could use middle and index, middle and index. I'm doing the work right now on the A major first measures chord there. So you go middle, index, when you cross strings. So that's one option. You could use ring finger as well when you go to the top note. So you could go like that, having the ring finger and then the middle, index, and then middle when you switch strings. So it's up to you on how you want to set everything up. I did a little bit different idea when we went to the second measure, because on that measure, going right across that chord. There's no doubling back or anything, so we're just outlining it completely, right across the chord, arpeggiating it, right to the 5th fret of the 2nd string E up top there. So I'm using thumb, index, middle, and ring right across. And then I was suggesting going, into the middle finger, index finger, and then crossing over with middle, and then index. So, that's one option. You could do other ideas, or you could, play it differently, when you, are speeding it up if you decide that there's a fingering that works better when you play faster. And it's up to you. These fingerings, they're kind of, in my opinion, a little bit arbitrary. We're not playing classical guitar here. There's not some kind of set direction that I'm really pushing at. And I think, just keep it open. It's folk music, it's just, it's folk music for folks who want to play music. and you can invent your own approaches when you get into the D there. Probably, I'd suggest using some kind of variation on of the example I gave on the first measure of the handout there. And then, when you get across the E chord, though, it's a little bit different when you're outlining, because you're going to probably want to go thumb, index, and middle, jump across using middle and ring fingers to pluck those, double pluck those top two strings. And then I'd probably use middle finger to do that movement where we move from the B to the C sharp on the 4th to 6th fret, a 3rd string there. So, all right. So really nice little idea, breaking down in the key of A major there and outlining some interesting triads, through the middle part of the neck. So that's example number 2, and this brings us to the end of part 1. All right, now when we come back in part number 2, remember that is going to be in the members area over at my website, creativeguitarstudio.com. And in that area, what we're going to be doing is example number 3 and example number 4, where we have some nice double pluck 16th note patterns. There'll be some triple meter finger picking concepts going on there. So I think you're going to get a kick out of some of these patterns that we're going to move into. The nice thing about example number 3 is it's a very common pattern, the way we're going to move through those ideas of the double plucks, and just kind of like a Travis picking approach a little bit. But and then we're going to do some triplet based ideas. They're going to be kind of more around some sus chord concepts there. Real nice dreamy stuff, really cool ideas, maybe along the lines of William Ackerman, something like that. But that's coming up in part 2. Of course, it is in the members area. You're going to need a membership to be able to access that. Now, I have all kinds of information on joining the site. If you want to get more information about it too, you can always give me a telephone call, in my studio during the daytime. You can send me an email. If you'd like, I do offer 2-day free trials into the site, so you can just check everything out and make sure it's the right fit for you and how you want to learn the guitar. Also, there's the idea that once you come in, you can take the courses. That's kind of the main reason most people want to come into the site, is to study all the different guitar programs, like the beginner and the intermediate and then the advanced guitar courses. So there's loads of information. There's tons of stuff to do. Even as a free member, even if you just get a free membership out, you've got 30 free lessons in the Quick Licks series, and there's more than enough information there to keep you busy and keep you moving along through some stuff until you decide to take a paid membership out. So like I say, if you have questions, send me an email, or you can give me a call into my studio during the daytime at any point, and I'll be happy to talk to you and bring you up to speed on everything you need to know to get a membership happening for yourself. But thanks for joining me, and I look forward to catching up with you next in the members area. The Music Reading Phase 1 ebook has over 30 pages of comprehensive project lessons covering the entire 5th reading position on the guitar. Music reading charts and drills will work to help students memorize the positions of all the 5th position notes, including important sharp and flat tones. Several original and classic pieces of sheet music will help students to gain a solid understanding for this region of the neck. Rhythm studies, duration examples, plus song and location drills, along with 19 MP3 audio tracks, makes this one of the best music reading courses available. Music Reading Phase 1 is available for instant download in the View Our Products area at creativeguitarstudio.com. Thanks for watching part 1 of the lesson. Be sure to sign up for a membership at creativeguitarstudio.com to watch part 2. In part 2, we'll practice more double plucked ideas, and we'll study 16th note and triple meter grooves. Plus, as a member, you'll also be able to download the handout for this lesson, along with many more professional guitar lessons. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch up next in the members area.